the projected outlook of the Carolina Panthers. Hey, what do you say? What do you say? It's your sister's favorite uncle. But hey, we're going to go into detail of how the Carolina Panthers can make their team better for the 2025-2026 season. I think that the area of focus, the main concern will be the defense. How can they get that defense to where they can stop almost anybody, but still continue to progress their offense with Bryce Young in his third season? So, Mike, what area of focus do you think the Carolina Panthers need to make as their top priority?
It's going to have to be in the front seven, the D-line and linebackers. I don't think it hasn't been a huge attention grabber for a long time. You know, they let go of Brian Burns, who was really their biggest pass rusher, and they didn't really answer that. And they were hoping Derek Brown would, support all the issues, but he got hurt last year. Then they were like, well, we also have Shaq Thompson. Well, he's been hurt every year now. So you lose two of your big leaders. I think as far as the secondary goes, it could improve. They were not that bad on secondary. It was just the fact that there was not a consistent pass rush getting to the quarterback, because a corner's best friend is knowing that when he has his back turned and trying to chase down a receiver, that the D-line is making the offense, especially the quarterback, have to figure out how to throw it on different platforms.
Yeah, you have Ashawn Robinson and Jadeveon Clowney with 5.5 sacks total, and they're the top of the list for the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, it was well distributed as far as sacks, but I mean, you've got to have a guy get at least 9-10 sacks.
Yeah.
And then it levels out to like a couple more with 5, and a 1 here, half here. But if you're not getting to the quarterback, you're not helping your corners, which overall ends up being what the season was, which was terrible.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we were the worst against the rushing attack. The worst. They were getting way too much on first down, which put more pressure on the defense to try to make a stop on second down. And I mean, it opens up the offense when you can get 5, 6, 7 yards on a rushing play.
Yeah.
And just looking at their point differential, we were 200 in point differential. There's no other team in the league that has that. And there's teams that had an even worse standings, and they still at least had a decent defense. That has to be addressed.
So how would you address it? So is it more of a player thing or a coach thing or a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both, because Evero's system is not great at all. Its biggest flaw is it doesn't answer the big guys that are running the ball. It stops the passing if they're one-dimensional. But when you're not stopping the running plays, you're not doing anything. The teams are not stupid. They know if they're getting 7 yards of carry on a run play, they're going to keep on going until you finally, stop it.
Xavier Woods and Michael Jackson with the most interceptions in the secondary, 3 for Xavier and 2 for Michael. They are both free agents. So would you sign both these guys or let one of them go?
I would let one go, because right now, with the Panthers being number 8 in the draft,
yeah,
they're looking at a really decent position to pick the best, at least the second or third best defensive player in the draft. Right now, they're projected to get a corner, Will Johnson. So, okay. I mean, I wouldn't try very hard, but Mike Jackson was the better of the two.
Okay, so if defensive line is an issue, do you think the Panthers take the route of signing somebody from the free agency at defensive line, but then focus on the secondary and the initial part of the draft?
I think defense is going to be a focus on the Panthers. I mean, just looking at every mock draft that's on the board, there's edge rusher, corner, linebacker, a receiver, which is another need, but it's pretty much defense.
Top 3 receivers for the Panthers are Thean, Leggett, and Coker.
I think that's a position that a lot of people are underestimating because Jalen Coker was a good guy. He was getting open. He was making big time catch after big time catch. Thielen, he was consistent when he was healthy. And Leggett, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact he was playing with a messed up wrist, and it's a rookie season, so there was not a lot of opportunities for him to get adjusted because he was thrusted straight in. That's still a solid rookie campaign to get 4 touchdowns. It looks like more than 50% of his passes and targets were caught. But I think next year, definitely getting that adjustment, getting that rhythm is going to help him a lot. And just getting a nice taste of the NFL. Now he knows what he has to do to prepare to be better.
Yeah. I mean, also, too, you look at the rushing game. Chuba Hubbard, 1,195 yards. That's pretty solid with 10 rushing touchdowns. And then you got your guy, Jonathan Brooks, who might come back healthy in this second year.
Yeah.
And then does Bryce Young make his improvement with the passing game?
The one guy that I really don't understand that people are not talking about is Jatavian Sanders on that offense. He's going to be good.
Jatavian Sanders.
He had this. If you look at his stat line, that is the same amount of stats that both Tommy Tremble and Ian Thomas had for their career between 2018 to now.
Okay, you're talking about the rookie tight end, Jatavian Sanders.
Yeah, and he's only going to get better. I think they still need to get another tight end because 2 tight end sets, it makes more sense to have another easy pass-catching tight end, I think.
Yeah.
Because, one, you're going to have defenses trying to open up, and that helps with the run game, trying to get some lanes open. And 2, you can get a mismatch. And then ultimately, the offense is going to be what does Bryce Young do this offseason?
Yeah.
Is he going to upgrade?
Plus, Ian Thomas and Tommy Tremble are both free agent tight ends. So maybe they make a decision on signing one of them or let one of them go.
Ian Thomas has already been told he's not going to come back.
Yeah, so maybe that will be an opportunity for Jatavian Sanders to get more reps in his second year, helping the production of the Panthers' offense.
I would say Jatavian Sanders, but honestly, if they get an opportunity, there's a guy named Harold Finnan that was from Bowling Green. He's the top tight end in college history. I would go grab that guy. He's kind of like a Jimmy Graham type tight end.
You would pick a corner first and then pick the tight end second, or?
Well, Finnan's going to be in the third because he's a Bowling Green guy, so nobody really knew about him until all of a sudden he turned it on late last year. But he's definitely going to be a guy that would be interesting to see line up because he's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the hands to be a decent tight end in the league. The offense right now, I would say, other than maybe adding a little bit here and there is fine. It's the defense that needs to find speed and size, definitely in the front 7, to help them out.
Did they sign a defensive coordinator yet? Or they
have they kept Evero.
Okay, so they kept their defensive coordinator. Wow.
Yeah.
After that season. So I guess,
they're blaming it on injury, which I highly doubt because they're saying the stat line from the previous year was not close to what they had this year, and they were like, yeah, we lost 2 of our major guys. Well, 2 out of 11 players should not be the reason why you're losing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 11 on 11, and there's 9 other guys on the field that are not doing well, and if it's not them, it must be the scheme. Definitely like to see the defensive line beef up because Derek Brown cannot be the only guy that's making plays. It'd be awesome if the Panthers happen to get the Penn State product that everybody's trying to get. I think it's Abdul Carter.
Penn State also has a tight end that's pretty good too.
Yeah, and that's a guy that's in the later round. So, yeah, definitely trying to get somebody that's a pass catcher.
What about offensive line? Do you think the Panthers got to make adjustments there?
Oh yeah, I
to
think they still
protect
need
their
to make
guy?
they still need to make adjustments on the O line. I mean, every year you can't keep the same O line every single year
Yeah.
and think that you're going to produce success, because one, injuries is the big thing, and then two, D-linemen are watching film and knowing, oh, this guy had this problem last year. Maybe we can take advantage of this. So you have to always adjust your line, health-wise, skill-wise. But I would definitely think offense is pretty much set as long as Bryce Young comes in with the attitude that he's still trying to improve.
And as far as opponents, I think the Panthers, they can beat the Cowgirls, the Jets, the Jags, maybe the Patriots pretty easily. But ultimately, I think they just got to beat out their division. The Buccaneers, Falcons, and Saints. I think they can, if they can make their team a little bit better, beat out those three teams within their division. They might be able to step back into the playoffs this upcoming season.
So looking at their opponents, I think they could beat Arizona. I think they could beat one time Atlanta. I think they could beat one time the Saints. Tampa's been a problem, so definitely 2 losses there. So we got 3 wins. I think 3 wins, 3 losses. The Rams we're not going to beat. Seattle's always been a problem one for us. That's 3-5.
Well, it depends on what the Rams and Seahawks do at the quarterback position. They might be adjusting those positions.
Buffalo's definitely not going to happen. Miami depends on what time of year. Dallas, every time we face them, they way to beat us at home.
Yeah. Will the Cowgirls draft a running back, or will they still be at a tough spot where they can't even run the football? If they have no running game, then you just set up for the passing game, and you could pretty much beat the Cowgirls.
Green Bay, definitely not going to win. Jacksonville, we will win. The Patriots is a hard one, but honestly, I think we will win because they're brand new coach, brand new system.
Brand new quarterback, too. Yeah.
Jets, we could probably beat. San Francisco is going to beat us. So honestly, it's honestly going to be a 7-10 season, because it's only because of what is on paper right now. If they make the adjustments that are needed, I could see a couple of surprise wins. But overall, I don't think that this is a team that's going to make the playoffs unless something drastic happens, like Baker Mayfield in Tampa is out for the year. Atlanta takes a huge decline. Seattle is rebuilding. Josh Allen is out for the year. Tua has another one of his 15 concussions.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the Panthers' offense is going to continue to progress. But the defense, they can probably select really good players on their team. But if they're going to continue to go in the same direction with their coordinator, they might not make that much of a leap defensively that they need.
So Evero's system, you have to have that front 7 making plays, and that's the biggest issue. There's not enough beef up front to make that type of defensive scheme work. You're going to have to go to a 4-3 or a 3-4 defense. But he wants to go 3 defensive line, 3 linebackers, and then 5 DBs. And any coach is going to think, I got a 240-pound running back. I'm just going to run the ball right at their DBs and let them get plowed over every single play.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that it can't win the NFL. They obviously won with it, but a lot of the wins are against teams that have that very soft running game.
Yeah, and that huge trade for Bryce Young, they traded so much just to get that pick. I think this is the last season that kind of affects their draft picks.
Right. And
so eventually that phases out, and then they can get all their picks in the future. Yeah, ultimately, too, is who out of their free agency do you think they're going to keep? Or do you think they're going to keep their center, Austin Corbett, and Xavier Woods, and maybe Andy Dalton sticks around another season?
Yeah, they're going to keep Austin Corbett. That guy proved that he could be a good center for us, but we need to develop behind him, because he is getting up to that point where they tend to fizzle out. The O-line's okay. It wasn't the O-line that was the big issue. It was the efficiency of Bryce Young just not figuring out, because I feel like the back half of the year they finally figured out what they should have done on offense.
Yeah, it seemed like just from a Packers perspective, Packers fan perspective, that Bryce Young started building confidence towards the second half of this past season, which he didn't really have in his first season with the other head coach. So it kind of seems like he was coached up to finally build the confidence he needed to make the progress necessary in the second half of this past season.
Yeah, it felt like he just understood the offense. He finally started getting the offense. It is an offense that is supposed to be more QB friendly than other offenses, but Frank Reich, when he came in, he was just there for a paycheck. He even admitted on a Sports Illustrated interview that he literally was there just to get a paycheck, and he wanted C.J. Stroud, but the ownership was set on Bryce Young, and he said, "Okay, I'll just try to make this the guy, and if it doesn't work out, oh well."
Yeah, I mean, to me, Panthers, they just need to get over the hump and start beating their teams within their division, and lo and behold, they can be in the playoffs. You never know what can happen in the playoffs. A team can really get clicking in the playoffs potentially.
Yeah, they're not going to be the playoff team. I would say they were 5-12 last year. And honestly, if Bryce Young makes the big leap, and based on what we have on schedule and what's on the roster, I could see us end up being a 7-10 team. This team has so much more that they have to repair before they actually become a good and decent team.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see what happens in the upcoming offseason. What selections will they take in signing people or letting people go? And then after that, how will they go about draft picks? Will they make the right necessary picks? And that's all we got to say. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment. Keep pounding and go Pack Go all day.
Hey, be the hero of your own story. Subscribe to Go Pack Go all day, and see you in the next one.